I'm so bored. So bored. I'm currently. You know, that is my phone's memory is full. So I sent a picture of that in an email where I resigned working account to my own account on Instagram. I'm waiting for the pictures to load so I can load them on the food stamps website. You can decapitate a Grimino's carrero that steals from me and steals Jayden's and Keilany's money. It's March 13, 2025. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Estos tipos dan un asco. There's no such thing as first dibs of my vagina. Una puerca de gente que se hacen pasar por mí, me roban mi dinero. You can decapitate Jayden Lorenzo Suarez. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Jayden Lorenzo Acevedo. I'm shooting Jennifer Marie Vasquez off the fence one day. You can decapitate Caro Cristina, whatever her last name is, que me roba mi dinero. Se queda en mi casa sin mi permiso. Maneja mi vehículo sin mi permiso. You can decapitate whoever sent me this message as long as it's not Jayden and Keilany, who may have been coerced by my family of origin as to abuse me, as to separate Jayden and Keilany from me. These leeches are so gross. Yeah. They got me with a hate crime towards me since I was 5 years old because I didn't have a grandma while growing up, and I didn't have a grandpa while growing up. Los tipos más puercos de este planeta. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Tina Cole and Alexis Alfaro if they get in the way of me receiving money, if they steal my money, if they stay in my homes without my permission, if they drive my vehicles without my permission, I don't have any food. You can decapitate Andrea Kurd if she gets in the way of me receiving money, stays in my homes without my permission, steals my money or drives my vehicles without my permission. Benjamin Suarez and his sons are so gross that they pay people to pretend to be me with money that they steal from me. And they get in the way of me receiving money still. Una gente tan puerca. What else? What else? What else? I miss Jayden and I miss Keilany. You can decapitate Rosaura Soto Rosa, que es una basura. You can decapitate Deborah Bailey that's trying to rape me, Jayden and Keilany. What else? 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 You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money, and give false hope to leeches as to say, don't worry, honey, I'm going to get Arlene to get raped by you. Todavía se dedican a eso. It's been more than 20 years since I don't speak to these leeches. They're so embarrassing. Ew, 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 ew. Ew. Oh, did they have people like talking to them behind the scene pretending to be me? And they're like, why is there nothing, not one message of her saying happy anniversary? Ella se memoriza mi aniversario con ella. I don't have an anniversary with them. Ew. You can decapitate Ledesma, que es una basura, una asquerosidad. Este tipo tan puerco raped me in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Me roba mi vehículo, se queda en mi casa sin mi permiso. Gets in the way of me receiving money. Tried to take me hostage in 2020 to rape me. in 2023 or 2024 tried to take me hostage as a sex slave, raping me and him profiting. What else? What else? What else? I'm shooting David Ledesma in self-defense one day. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Anyways, I'm applying for food stamps again on money for food. In the meantime, I have a GoFundMe campaign that you can fund right now. What else? What else? What else? This is so slow. I sent screenshots and picture, a screenshot and a picture to one of my Instagram accounts so I can upload files onto my food stamps application. These leeches get in the way of me receiving money so I don't contact the police. Anyways, I filed a report against Richie Hill, whatever his last name is, raping me in 2023 while I'm under the poverty level and I was at a homeless shelter. Yeah. What else? What else? What else? What else? You can burn alive de Señora Arlene Lorenzo, que es una puerca. You can burn alive de Señora Arlene Lorenzo. You can burn alive de Señora Arlene Lorenzo. You can burn alive de Señora Arlene Lorenzo. What happening? This is so slow. What else? You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. There's many people in Aguada, Puerto Rico, up to a few decades ago that have immunity to kill them in self-defense for me. What else? What else? What else? I don't have money for food. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So, can I download this? Oh, am I not off to download these pictures? Oh, I have to crop. So talky, yeah. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? There's still Parada 5 style. Down to la parroquia. Sagrado Corazón. Where's the hunting called? Yeah. Planning. I'm gonna take her out on a date. When she gets money, and my parents are gonna kill you for starving our daughter and not giving her opportunity before we let you rape our daughter. And we'll always starve our daughter. For real. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, those leeches that I have crushes on are so gross. They never materialize. I'm very quick to determine that they're not worthy. When I met them, what else? That was decades. And they're still trying to rape me, still trying to play the husband part as if they mean something in my life. And they're like, seriously? Her parents haven't given her money for food yet? What else? What else? I'm not gonna give this bitch money, even if it's her own money that I have that belongs to her. She'll be on Tinder in a heartbeat and find a man and won't let me rape her. That's how they speak still? Ew, they're so gross. How do I download this? I thought I could. I can't log into my food stamps account from my phone. Ugh. It's saying that the password isn't valid when it isn't. It could. Can I do this? Very unlikely. You can decapitate Richie Hill that raped me in 2023 while I'm under the poverty level. I didn't want to see him again when he was 5 years old in my bedroom and I was 12. He was pretending to have sex with my sibling Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo on my siblings Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo's bed. Ew, qué tipo tan puerco. That's why they show up while one is homeless and starving because they know that one with money, one and homeless, one says, wait, you're trying to kill me, but I'm also trying to kill you, and I have the way to kill you for starving me on purpose. So maybe I'll get attached to you for a little bit and see how this goes. So I may get raped. I thought he was his dad. I had never seen him as an adult. I stopped attending family events decades ago to not run into those leeches. My sibling quiere casi hacerle el amor on a dance floor en una boda o un bautizo para decir que eso le pertenece a ella. Gente tan puerca. Ew, is it Andrew Suarez and Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo that have that love story? I always laugh. They're trying to kill people. Oh, listening with that song to that song. Ew. El tipo un puerco, la tipa una puerca. Is he still trying to rape me? Ew. Qué tipo tan puerco. He doesn't even know what relationships are. They're so pathetic. Ella se burla de él como le da la gana and gets away with it. Ew. I thought that I could download these images to that. If I send it to the same account. I send it on money. And I mean, I am not working at Gap anymore. Oh, they think that I'm gonna be embarrassed. With zero brain. It's the behavior that they exhibit. They're sex addicts. They're so gross. They're thieves, they're murderers. You can decapitate everyone that steals my money, gets in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate everyone that stayed in my homes without my permission. You can decapitate everyone that steals my money. You can decapitate everyone that uses my vehicles without my permission. You can decapitate everyone that wears my brand new underwear and leaves it dirty in my home. I've been said to as an act of terrorism towards me. I'm shooting Jennifer Marie Vasquez in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Maria Luisa Rosa in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Jonah Vargas in self-defense one day. What else? 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 I don't want that Pinterest. So I can just take screenshots of this. What else? I have hot chocolate that I'll be drinking. So it's eating. Breadsticks that I bought from HEB yesterday. What else? 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 So I'm shooting Marilia Serrano in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Donald Briggs in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Alicia in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Mariana Daza in self-defense one day. What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. I think their names are Andrew, Alex, and Albert. They terrorized my parents decades ago, asking my parents to starve me, meaning like they want me dead, that they're not gentlemen. My parents panic, and my parents are like, I'm not letting you move on until you kill these leeches. Hello. It's self-defense right away, ideally. And I'm like, what do you mean? I don't want to kill when you tell me to. I have a very detailed plan. Of how I'm gonna kill these people, so I don't want to be. So I'm tagging the FBI, NATO, Interpol, the U.S. Department of Justice, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Marines in the U.S., the Army in the U.S., the International Criminal Court. I'm seeking the death penalty for everyone that steals from me. I'm seeking the death penalty for everyone that stays in my homes without my permission. I'm seeking the death penalty for everyone that gets in the way of me receiving money. I'm seeking the death penalty for everyone that drives my vehicles without my permission. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else did I already? Crop that file. What else? I'm shooting Jayden and Lorenzo Suarez in self-defense one day. That leech and I, and my part of the money he kept, addiction, stealing my money, and paying leeches to pretend to be me. So that leech showed me how in her home she had drawers of gift cards that they would give to her in exchange of sex with them that I paid for. Well, I didn't have $0 to shop. They're so disgusting. They're still begging me for sex. Ew, gente tan puerca. Full. I don't ever want that near me. What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate. Jayden and Arlene Lorenzo Suarez. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons. Then rape me, steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. So that is the screenshot where I quit working up. I don't have fast enough internet, so I can't find if I have on Facebook. What is it? It's a screenshot. Of my last paycheck that I received from Gap. It's hilarious that they excuse themselves. They're like, Arlene, we don't give her money, so she doesn't have fast internet. Porque if people say you haven't been to Africa, like we can upload a page so quickly, and they're still using Africa as an excuse for stealing money from me. They're so disgusting. Ew, ew, ew. These leeches thought that they would traffic me into a one-bedroom apartment at 44 years old, and that I would be happy to not have my children with me, as if I'm some sort of irresponsible person. These leeches produce rape babies. Ew, I'm not like them. Ew, ew, ew. Did they get invited to a sleepover here with me when I don't ever want to see their faces? They trafficked me into a one-bedroom apartment because I didn't have my own room when I was growing up. As if I was going to say, yay, finally. Nene, yo me quedo en hoteles sola. Lo que pasa es que tú eres un bruto. Yo por eso no te hablo. Y te digo que yo me quedo en hoteles sola. So if I had wanted to see that penis, I would have tried already decades ago, and I don't want to. Ew, ew, ew. They think that silence is a way de enamorarlo. Fuck! Still, ew. Okay, back to this. I need to edit this. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez on his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate my siblings. Do they give dolls hope? And they're like, no! Para que no se lo mame el pene ese día. Ew, they don't know how to have relationships. Still, ew. So quizá le dice cuñado, o ella le dice cuñado, as if I'm busy today, I'm maybe someone else today. I'm on my period and I really don't want you to hear me. So tú eres, para no decirte eso, yo te digo cuñado. Y así tú sabes que yo no estoy disponible para ti hoy. Y él por joder, porque puerco, lo viola y se deja violar. Even when they say to him, coño. He's like, I'm just here then with my wife's sibling. Ew, todavía. Ah! Anyway, ¿sabías que Nayelis Vargas is a rape baby for... ¿Sabías que Brandon y Raymond Acevedo son rape babies? What else? 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 I'm so bored. Oh, los nenes de Henry Acevedo, rape babies. What else? 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 That seems. And I'm decapitating Berlin Jean one day. Ew, this leech tried to rape. He kidnapped me, brought me into my own home with that holder. And he was upset that I wasn't happy in my own home while that hoe was dancing. Ew, in my home. Fuck. Qué tipo tan puerco, una basura. You can decapitate me. How many Suarez son esos sons that have raped me, that steal my money, that get in the way of me receiving money so I can't drink water, so I can't eat, so that I can't date. What else? 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 I'm so bored right now. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Mr. Keilany, you can give me money in person through PayPal, through my GoFundMe campaign. Jayden and Keilany have been with their dad since 2016, when Michael Norman and Jorge Aviles raped me. What else? 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 What? Am I my own prosecutor in the case against these leeches? Where did those screenshots go? Hilarious if I am. What else? What else? I'm tired. I'm bored. I want to date, so you can give me money in person through PayPal or my GoFundMe campaign. PayPal is AR Blue Sky Designs, con lo que estoy pensando. Straight to my heart, Arlene Lorenzo Art Shop, INTAYIAFAY. I am tired shop. My GoFundMe campaign is gofundme.com/f/Arlene-Lorenzo. I need to visit a podiatrist and toenail. Then I need to get rid of it. They gave me that so that they could try to rape me. And so that I would flee and date anyone else decades ago. I'm a hot commodity. A contango. Or cotango. Oh, for what else? Oh, and I've always known that, and I've always received that compliment. So these leeches trying to make me feel inferior. It's impossible when I've always known that I'm a contango. Depends on my consistency in the planet with my benefactorish deeds. What else? What else? It takes the same energy to breathe than to give. I didn't come up with that. What else? What else? What else? Oh, the people that have grown with me, they're like, I would never. For a while, I thought I would credit her for everything, but because she gives credit to some people, I even go on like quoting her family members that I interviewed separately. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Or her mother, when her mother said cositos. That hoe gives me no money for food. And then it's like, have you sold your artwork? What is she trying to do? Remind me of all the people that I should be killing in self defense, is what I think. However, I don't say that out loud because I don't think that's like familial relationships with her. What else? 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 I hate that I'm a victim of genocide. My parents, they'll raise me well so I could leave the home by 12. So there's not like, what is it? Hard feelings. What else? 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 I hate that my dad cried like one of the last times I talked to him on the phone. He's like, Alenita. I am like, there should be no stress in his life. And I'm like, whatever. Abusers cry. My parents are war heroes and legend. What else? What else? What else? What else? I would never start my own child as a safe penalty for abusing my child. It defeats the purpose of having a child. What else? 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 So bored. Anyways, so this. What else? In the meantime, my sibling is still waiting to tell me when I can specifically go out to dance with him. Still, what a waste of time these people are. Dan un asco, dan un asco. Job resignation. This is so slow. Oh, I need to transfer another file. This is gonna take forever. What else? I have no money for food. You can decapitate everyone that gets in the way of me receiving money. I've already sent 70 screenshots of how people in my family of origin abused me. to the International Criminal Court, even though the International Criminal Court exists. I'm seeking the death penalty for the people that steal from me, the people that cause my anxiety, my depression, my poverty. That has led to Jayden and Keilany being separated from me. This started sooner than this, however, the court was started on that date. That was the date that I sent in the documents. I'm currently in San Antonio, Texas, not in Aguada, Puerto Rico, where the abuse started. Hopefully they can cross-reference any evidence that they have of the people abusing me and send it over to the FBI, to the Supreme Court, who will sign the death penalty for me. Yes. Well, I make history with that too. After their death, it'll be all over the news. That was the victim. I also did that. The entire case. How long does the death penalty case take, though? I've heard it's creepy in ways. It's like, first, sadly, we watch how many people died of COVID on the screens. But she's like, wait for it. I have a better screenshot. Already in my inbox. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you had given me money, I would have exposed them a lot sooner. Well, weren't you know? What else? What else? Or Target. I'm currently wearing Target, which I love those t-shirts. Anyways. What else? I paid like less than $3 for a t-shirt at Walmart in 2018. I was so happy at the quality of it. And at my level, I had already shopped at Walmart for myself, but I was like not single. Like I shopped for Jayden and Keilany there, and for myself, and not with the excitement that I shopped. And for myself in 2018. Where's the other screenshot? Oh, there it is. This is so slow. Decapitate Cyrus Peña that trafficked me into poverty, trying to rape me, trying to keep my parents home with my sibling. Bendito, ella lo coge de pendejo. They're like, bring me the freshest Puritan. Bring me more money, I need a bigger kitchen. Y si te portas bien, entonces te dejan entrar a mi casa en Singapur, ¿verdad? Si te portas bien. Y todavía no me has probado. Llevamos 35 años hablando todos los días. Me ha traído todas las vírgenes que quiero, todos los vírgenes que quiero, todo el dinero para una cocina más grande, para cuando yo la tenga de remodelar, y todavía no se ha portado bien como para yo invitarlo a mi casa a Singapur. That's how they mistreat people. They're so gross. Ew, they're embarrassing. My siblings are embarrassing. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. What? will they upload? I hate when this. Oh, I think it's logged out. Isn't it? Mi password es mátate ready. Si me está robando mi dinero para saber mi password. Does that work? If I ignore them and they think that I was gonna have a relationship with them, do they end up killing themselves after stealing from me? After staying in my homes without my permission, after driving my vehicles without my permission, after getting in the way of me receiving money. Porque I'm coming for them one day. I just don't know how many languages I'm gonna speak, but it's like way back in the back of my head, and people say it's hilarious. Like I already reached to like the half point of what was behind, like back of my head. So now it's like all the languages that I know how to practice, and I don't have anyone to practice them with, so I want to travel. And then a very much detailed plan of how I'm gonna kill these leeches for abusing me, Jayden and Keilany. Oh, without me sitting like my brain picked for me. Without me sitting down and saying I'm buying a gun from Cabela's. Some of the players just an example. So I'm buying a gun from Cabela's and shooting John Vargas with it. I'm buying a gun from Cabela's and shooting Gustavo Cáceres with it. I'm buying a gun from Cabela's and shooting who else? Jennifer Marie Vasquez with it. I'm decapitating David Ledesma in self-defense one day. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored right now. I'm so bored. What else? I want hot chocolate. And I want sticks. Also, is he in the death penalty for himself for having raped the little one decades ago while he thinks. When I roll my eyes at, like, what do you mean there's people that have sex with people pretending that person is someone else? What 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 else? bored. I want to visit Jayden and Keilany in Tampa next week. Well, I've been starved for more than 30 years. Ew. It's a lot of shopping and trips that I've missed. I'm visiting HEB tomorrow. I have like $60 of food stamps now. Oh, that's embarrassing porque todavía they're looking for that Latina that they're gonna rape. So they're like, so what they do, Latinas. Pendejo, lo que te toma comentar. You could be creating your own GoFundMe campaign and getting out of poverty. Or if you have a little bit of money, selling your artwork on eBay or Etsy. Or on the streets or to your own mother. Que estar jodiéndome la vida y decirme que tú penny pinch y tú eres latina. So they go on from the perspective of like, this is what Latinas go through. ¿Qué Latinas? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. I'm so bored. Zero people are watching. Zero like this post. Did it upload? What else? I'm doing this again. I thought they would load. So there's a section where it states. Anyways, I'm the, how's the raping going? Are they dead already? Ew. Scientists son unos puercos. Where is the file upload? That's it. What else? Once I'm financially stable, I plan to travel the planet and meet people. Ideally polyamorous men. You can give me money in person through PayPal. It's air, blue sky design school, and like a sleep and sound necessary to my heart. Arlene Lorenzo art. Shop INTAYIAFAY. I am tired shop. My GoFundMe campaign is gofundme.com/f/Arlene-Lorenzo-Acevedo. You can decapitate my homies, hardest Lorenzo sons. That rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money, so that gets sexual harassment. You can decapitate Jayden Lorenzo Chaparro. You can decapitate Marilyn. Decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo that steal from me in my homes. They drive my vehicles without my permission. Ang school for you can decapitate my homies, daughters, Lorenzo sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. What else? What else? What else? This is so slow. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm shooting Denise Munoz Carrero in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Jennifer Marie Vasquez in self-defense one day. Gente son unas puercas, unas puercas. Shooting Lizzie Nales in self-defense one day. I'm burning alive to Senora Ramirez Lorenzo in self-defense one day. Qué tipo tan puerca. I'm shooting Katie Leon in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Liz Nieves in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Carolina Chavez in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Mandy Hansen in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Jelitza Martinez in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Luz Nereida Galicia, Nereida Luz Galicia in self-defense one day. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Arnaldo Torres Gallosa if he steals my money, stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicle or steals my money. or gets in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Luis Lorenzo, que es un puerco that tried to rape me when I was 14. These people are so disgusting. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo, que es una basura trying to rape me, so she steals my money, stays in my homes without my permission, and then goes on to come up with like the crappiest job that I don't ever want to do. In retaliation, because I don't let her rape me, because I don't let anyone in these groups of rapists tell me how they're gonna give me a spanking or how they want to know si yo trago semen o no, o si mamo pene o no mamo pene. Ew. These leeches, my mother used to leave me unsupervised around them. And they still try to invade my privacy, trying to know about sex acts that I perform or not. That dumb. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. No tiene meta propia. Oh. What else? 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 You can decapitate Benjamin Torres and sons that rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Sarah Wolsey, que puerca. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, good thing that these leeches cause more than 18 million deaths, and that no one in my family of origin has died. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? In fact, I almost complained, like, why are they still alive? If they have stolen me and get in the way of me receiving money. So I'm here still 5 years later, after ex's deaths began to happen in the United States, showing you the faces, but they themselves publicly too. Ew, as we steal money and want to kill people. Full. They're trying to kill me, so they've caused what they think is a bout of diarrhea where a lot of people die. And if I die, my death would go unnoticed, I think, because I'm so unworthy to them of living. Because I don't let them rape me. Ew. So they're testing to see if 911 will answer my phone call or not. If an ER will take care of me or not. Will they steal my money? Gente, ew. Ew, 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 ew. Damasco, no. Is this page not working? You can decapitate David with this one. You can decapitate Michael Norman. You can decapitate Jorge Avilés. You can decapitate Sarah Francis. You can decapitate Juan Manuel de Lis. They don't know how badly it is for them to go through with the threat. Yeah. If anything, according to Arlene Lorenzo, they'll be shamed for being so gross. I want them. What else? 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 soon. I will upload review this. What else? You can decapitate Orianirsa Acevedo Cordero. You can decapitate Ramon Lorenzo. You can decapitate Ebenezer Lorenzo Acevedo con la puerca. You can decapitate Marini Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Gilbert Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Maria Angelis Aviles Lorenzo. You can decapitate Adrian Lorenzo Chaparro. Well, I wait for tomorrow, I guess, to upload this. I'll try later from my phone. Either way, is it Andrew, Alex, and Albert that think they're gonna be sleeping in my bed overnight? Oh, do they have their sleeping bags ready? Porque se invitaron solo a mi vida. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that have raped me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I don't want such leeches near me ever. What else? There's no such thing as gun traffic. Qué tipos tan puercos. If they think that they have first dibs of my vagina and that man estropeado mi salud for the past 12 years specifically, I got overweight when they raped me. Oh, I didn't even want to look pretty. They're so disgusting. Él en su miata y su BMW, que se lo voy a llamar un día. Con él adentro. Por robarme mi dinero, por violarme, por meterse en mi cuarto y decirme, so and I are going on a team doing what you and I were going to do, but I stole your money and I raped you. You don't have anything to say to me. You don't think you're doing anything wrong. So I said to one of them decades ago that I'm seeking the death penalty for him. What else? Two of them at least walked into my parents' home. All trying to get into my vagina through my mother. Que asco. And asked my mother to starve me so that they would have, so that I would wake up the next day wanting to have sex with them. Ew, qué tipo tan puerco. Que está buscando una razón para hablarle a Gloria Nilsson. Ella said the wrong thing. Son unos puercos. What else? Uno me quiere matar para quedarse con my childhood home. Well, my older sibling is still alive. Okay, he thinks that the home should go to her. Has she been the only child? As if he can pick from my parents how many children they can have. Ew. This thing goes. So you can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo, you can decapitate Benjamin Soros, they act like they're her slaves. Y ya lo coge de pendejo, lo usan de juguete. Ew. They're sex addicts. If you wanna be with me, you have to do what I say. Kill my sister. And they're like, okay. Ew. Tan asco. Dan un asco. Así mismo le dice Jayden and Keilany que es una puerca, que me tienen que matar a mí. Si él quiere que ella se lo mame. Porque according to el código de la fatache, que solo se bañan y no piensan. You know? I mean, society de la tipa más bruta, asquerosa, puerca, bellaca, tratando de violar a la gente, que se cree que es importante nada más porque la palabra society está en una conversación. Ew. Dan un asco. They're like, Marilyn wrote a manual on how to treat men so that they don't abuse us. Ew. Las leeches, entre las leeches son una basura. They rape men. Ew. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Jayden and Keilany Lorenzo Suárez, que no sabe ser mujer. What? What else? Only a Sarah Betting cualquiera. What else? You can decapitate the You can decapitate everyone that steals my money. You can decapitate everyone that gets in the way of me receiving money. Oh, I don't know what file I think I sent. I want to see Pitbull on April 5th at the Hemisphere. What's funding me that? You can give me money in person through PayPal. It's AR Blue Sky Designs. Go en lo que estoy pensando, straight to my heart. Arlene Lorenzo Art Shop, INTAYIAFAY. I'm Tire Shop. My GoFundMe campaign is gofundme.com/Arlene-Lorenzo-Acevedo. You can decapitate Benjamin Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. Jayden and Keilany ganó decades ago. They walked up to me, at least 3 of them, and said to me, decades ago. She had her own room, had her own wardrobe, has more money than me because they steal from me. is older than me and is the sure thing. Orgasm. Esa gente no sabe lo que es tener sexo. Ellos lo que son animales que se trepan uno encima del otro. Ew, qué tipo tan puercos. Oh. Ew, 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 ew. Y ella da asco viviendo todavía de fantasías. Ew, hasta el padre no la soporta decades ago. Qué tipa tan bruta. Qué tipa tan cuero y es mi hija. He used to say. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Ew. I don't know if this went through. Anyways, gente, this unfortunately is what Latinas go through. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? This unfortunately is what Latinas go through. According to these people, I know nothing about Latinas. I've never met a Latina that's poor. These people are an embarrassment to society. Why are they still alive? What else? Yes. So I made uploaded maybe the right ones or the same one twice. I didn't think it would go. What else? What else? What else? So here we go. Uploading them again, one at a time. Anyways, oh, they're mad at me because I don't say si ellos maman, si tragan semen o no tragan semen. Do they get mad at each other and they're like, are you fucking kidding me? I've been watching her live. Just fill out food stamps application and there's no screenshot here of how I can suck dick and how I swallow semen. What else? What else? What else? Qué gente tan bruta that I grew up around. Ew. Anyways, I'm gonna do this one more time. Hopefully it works. All tomorrow. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm shooting Sarah Woolsey in self-defense one day. Instead of saying I was I'm here thinking shoot Sarah Woolsey in self-defense one day. I'm decapitating Jennifer Marie Vasquez in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Swami Cortez Rio in self-defense one day. I'm decapitating Swami Bonilla in self-defense one day. I'm decapitating Janiris Cajigas in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Mariana Daza in self-defense one day. What else? 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 David Acevedo has right babies. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. I'm so bored. What else? 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 Wow, esos nenes nunca aprendieron a ser hombres. Wow. Anyways, was that George Sanchez or them pretending to be him? The cops know about that. What else? Oh, porque he wants me to make a mistake and be like, I'm decapitating George Sanchez without me seeing who the person is on the other side of the screen. What else? 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 Anyways, what else? ¿Qué tipo tan bruto, right? ¿Qué tipos tan brutos? Are they in jail? Like maximum security forever. My dad has. What is the protective orders protecting me against? Are like, ¿cuándo le escribirá? Hola. Yo quiero ver una ¿Cuándo él comenzará a decirle buenos días? Yo sé, quiero dándole el dinero a la comida. Y bajando el vehículo. Esperando a que le escriba por Facebook. Sin saber que me porque así de brutas son. Y no, ellos se creen todavía que William Levy me va a decir hola o me va a pagar la comida. Ew, 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 ew. Ew, ew, ew. Embarrassment. Those are for those birds. They're an embarrassment. Ew. ¿Cuánta gente se va a montar en Guadalupe? What else? Oh, people gauge that too in me. They're like, you don't object to that. Like with all these babies that there are here. Ew. Ew, it stinks. I wonder if Jayden and Keilany read my mind. And they're like, why is it that as she enters Agua, that she's like, gets uncomfortable and things like, oh, so many babies here. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. I'm so bored. will call tomorrow and find out if they received the files. Possibly based on him, like, vete, dile que tú. Y él tiene, my dad has a protective order against him protecting me. Most likely. Anyways, I've uploaded those two files plenty of times, hoping that this gets approved while I receive money on my GoFundMe campaign. You can decapitate everyone that gets in the way of me receiving money, everyone that steals my money, everyone that gives me their opinion de que tengo que cambiar mi manera de ser. Ditona, Iria's a rape baby, Carol is a leech, gente. Fo. Qué tipa tan puerca. Ew, ew, ew. Ew. You can decapitate Caro Cristina, whatever her last name is. You can decapitate whoever sent me this message. Que gente tan puerca todavía se lo mama y mata por él y quiere que él mate por ella. Ew. Fo. Qué gente tan puerca. Fo. You can decapitate whoever sent me this message, as long as it's not Jayden and Keilany, who may have been coerced by my family of origin to abuse me verbally as to separate Jayden and Keilany from me. What else? You can decapitate Edgar Munoz Carrero that steals from Jayden and from Keilany. You can decapitate Deborah Acevedo, que es una basura. You can decapitate Deborah Acevedo, que es una basura. Y ellos no se pueden contener tratando de violar a una con esos mensajes. Fo. How is that funny? That Jayden and Keilany are separate from me. She steals my money, se hace pasar por mí, la lleva a Atlantic City. Y le pagan, gente. Ew. Dan un asco. I don't ever want them near me. You can decapitate Mariana Daza. You can decapitate Claudia Gabriela Martinez. Ew. You can decapitate Rosaura Soto Rosa. Una basura, gente. Me roba mi dinero, and because she knows that I can kill her in self-defense, dice que she would never donate money for me to leave my home, so I can't kill her. So who has immunity to kill Rosaura Soto Rosa Rose? What else? Estos nenes, porque alguien se lo mame, matan, con eso no se puede hablar nunca. Ellos le pagan a ella de dinero que se roban de mi arte, que están vendiendo todavía. Ew. You can decapitate David Ledesma, que es una basura, una asquerosidad, gente, una asquerosidad, un tipo tan puerco. Why is he still alive? What else? 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 You can decapitate Richie Hill that raped me in 2023. You can decapitate the ladies after that stay in my homes without my permission, that steal my money, that get in the way of me receiving money, that drive my vehicles without my permission. What else? What else? What else? I'm shooting Carolina Chavez in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Liz Nieves in self-defense one day if she isn't dead. I'm shooting Katie Leon in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Mandy Hansen in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Jelitza Martinez in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Luz Nereida Galicia or Nereida Luz Galicia in self-defense one day. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Luis Lorenzo. You can decapitate Arnaldo Torres Gallosa if he stays in my homes without my permission, drives my vehicles without my permission, steals my money, or gets in the way of me receiving money. What else? 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 You can decapitate Sarah Francis, que es una puerca. She was emancipated when she was 16. And she stayed in my home without my permission, ate my food without my permission, drove my vehicle without my permission, stole from me my art supplies. These leeches, nunca se convirtieron en hombres. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Nunca se convirtieron en hombres. Y todavía utilizan mi dinero from the sales of artwork that he and I painted together when I was a child, that he kept the money and the artwork to fund leeches mamándole el pene, pretending to be me, my money. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. I don't ever want them near me. Estos tipos son unos puercos, una basura, una asquerosidad. Ew, 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 ew. Good luck if you thought that when I was gonna be like, oh Hollywood, oh my husband is a sex addict and I'm trying to get these leeches out of the way. No, I want Benjamin Suarez sons to die immediately for having stolen my money, for having starved me by asking my parents to starve me for more than 30 years. This is more like me. About myself, Jayden and Keilany. What else? 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 I want hot chocolate. Anyways, will my footsteps get approved or not? Well, it has to. That's what those leeches that I grew up around are so sexy. Anyways, ya Andrew Suárez se describió el tipo más puerco. Ew, esa basura que lo escuchan, they're like, his voice is so sexy, he's so tall and handsome. Después de eso no tiene nada más. Por eso yo lo violo y él me viola. Ew, and they got time like this. I don't know what being on drugs is. So it irks me that the language that those leeches have. Ew, if it were so magical, like how they describe it, they wouldn't steal from me so I can't date around them. In Italy, that's gonna be so handsome. Or un español. For real, ellas se quieren hacer like a wow. Ellas están todas con esos nenes de bebés, son tan bellos. Y me roban mi dinero, so I can't take. Ew. Son una asquerosidad esas tipas y esos tipos, full dando un asco. Ew, I'm gonna shoot them one day in self-defense. Ew, de tan puerca y tan puerco que son. Lo basura que son, lo inservible que son. What else? 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 I'm shooting so many women in self-defense. People say that men rape. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. Oh, because when I was 7 years old, that leech. Luz herida. I just dropped a stick. The beaches, it's Nereida Galicia. Elle was fighting with her sibling over a man decades ago. Elle. So those two things. Ew, 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 ew. So this is how I hold coffee. I have water there. Killing Nereida Galician self-defense one day. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm shooting Jayden and Keilany Suarez in self-defense one day. Esa tipa puerca. Yeah. She approached me when she was 4 with a machete and said, "Get away from my man." Ew. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So bored. I'm shooting Arlene Lorenzo in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Jayden Lorenzo in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Arlene Lorenzo in self-defense one day. Anyways, I'm gonna shop H&M today. I don't know. What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate me. I mean, so this one's the sons. Not rape me. That's the only. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. When I'm financially stable, I plan to travel the planet and meet people I do only polyamorous with. People are watching. One is like this pose. What? Anyways, you can give me money through PayPal to do my GoFundMe campaign. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? These leeches want to keep me on food stamps so that they laugh and then I don't have food. They're drug addicts, most likely, that don't want to get fat. Ew. Constantly, quizá compran infectado en la boca. Ew. Para que no le dé hambre. Oh. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. Ew. So bored. I'm shooting Jennifer Mari Vasquez in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Yaniris Cajigas in self-defense one day. I'm shooting Joanna Vargas in self-defense one day. You can decapitated me how many sons that rape me, that steal my money and get away with it. What else? 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 There's no such thing as first dibs of my vagina, gente. Everyone knows that. Not everyone accepts that. What else? 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 Those leeches stole my money, so I couldn't date. Terrorize my parents so that my parents wouldn't provide for me, and then went out to date everywhere. I've traveled possibly the planet so many times in the past 5 years. With money that they steal from me, most likely, but I'm gonna find them when I kill them. Oh, I don't seek them ever. I don't ask anyone about them. Like when I seek them, I'm just gonna shoot them. I can get a private detective to find me where they are. They're legal private detectives out there. So I don't want to waste my time seeing them in group chats. Or they try to provoke me so that I kill them through a screen. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. Anyways, I'm gonna stitch more pieces of embroidery. What else? What else? What else? I want to activate my website, ArleneLorenzoArt.com. I miss Jayden, I miss Keilany. I don't allow disrespect towards myself, Jayden, Keilany, and my parents. Oh, they are so dumb. They're like, leave her without her money. Two people she got money. Her parents, she doesn't fall. She doesn't need sex. These are sex addicts. I'm gonna cut their dick hot dog in half, possibly one day. Possibly feed it to it while drugged. So it chokes and dies like right there. They think that I'm gonna invite them into my world, that they traffic me into poverty, and they traffic my children away from me, possibly still, based on what they said to me decades ago. And that I would ask them to have sex here with me, that would be rape. If my sibling cries and says, so there's no wedding, she's not inviting him. Dan un asco, gente, dan un asco todavía. Ew. They steal my money, they get in the way of me receiving money, and then they think that they can predict the outcome so that they don't get the death penalty. The outcome that they want from me is that I illegally prostitute myself, or I get raped, or I rob a bank, so that they don't go to jail for stealing from me. Ew, I'd rather expose them. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm sharing this many times because a lot of people don't understand. No, they think that me not talking to them means that I would have let them rape me. Like for real, they think that me ignoring them means that one day I'm gonna have sex with them. Fuck, gente puerca. Ew, ew, ew. If I didn't like him decades ago, why would I like him now? Ew, 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 ew. Plus, I have no ottoman in my apartment. I miss Jayden and Miss Keilany. I want a home for myself, Jayden and Keilany again. You can give me money or through my GoFundMe campaign. This is property to me, not some dumb leech de que me quieren matar para que esta gente se ría de mí y se lo mamen. What else? 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 I'm so bored. I have the worst PTSD for getting raped decades ago. Ay, los clichés de las películas. Do you know that Najelis Vargas is a rape baby for qué tipa tan puerca Joana Vargas? Ew. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm tagging NATO. I'm tagging Interpol. I'm tagging the Department of Justice in the United States, the Department of Homeland Security in the United States, the International Criminal Court, the U.S. Army, the U.S. Marines. In the United States, I'm seeking the death penalty for everyone. What else? Need a vacuum cleaner and a carpet steamer. I hate that I haven't steamed my carpet and that I don't have money to call someone to steam it. Even if it doesn't have any stains on it, I like the carpet to be steamed occasionally so that it's fresh. And one that it isn't dirty, but it is dirty. What else? 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 I'm shooting Taylor Michelle Barnes in self-defense one. Then I'll start smiling. Now that I don't. Pero entonces sí que I won't walk into places and be like, what else? 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 What? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. How many rape babies? What is the sense of? How many people have they raped? Ew, in the past 30 years, they stole my money so I couldn't date them. Then they stole your money and I'm getting in the way of you receiving money. So that if I don't ever find anyone in this planet, he'll always be here waiting for me. I was a child when that happened. I'm 45 almost now. I've never had sex with these leeches. They're so disgusting. They're so disgusting. There's no such thing as first dibs on my vagina. There's no such thing as a fucking pendejo thinking that he owns my vagina. What else? 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 You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that have raped me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm sharing often. A lot of people where I understand this concept yet, and in 2020 we're trying to gauge the wetness of my vagina through the screen. Gente puerca. Todavía. I have not talked to them in decades. And in 2020, this is me still today. And these leeches are like, yada, 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 come talk to me privately. So I can sort out if it's not abuse because it's privately. Ew. Trying to rape me, trying to give me chisme. Me quiere decir como ella fue a Atlantic City con él para que yo lo odie. El tipo más pendejo en la novela que él graba en su vida. Esta es la basura asquerosidad del planeta. Se cree behind the scenes que está casado conmigo. Eso es un leech, una basura. Él no sirve para nada. I'm decapitating David Ledesma one day in self-defense. However, I prefer that the FBI kills David Ledesma for me because I'm overwhelmed already with how many people I need to kill in self-defense. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm tagging the FBI in this post, NATO, Interpol, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Justice Department in the United States, the International Criminal Court, the U.S. Army, the U.S. Marines, even though I know that the International Criminal Court exists, I'm seeking the death penalty for all of these people that steal my money, get in the way of me receiving money, stay in my homes without my permission, and drive my vehicles without my permission. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? This concludes my case. What else? 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 I'm sharing my GoFundMe campaign with people on Instagram because I'm very social. Believe it or not, as long as I'm not like in the environment where I'm second guessing, like, is this not a rape baby? Are you a rape baby? But you're confident. I thrive in that environment, but I say to myself under the poverty level because I cringe. I don't know if people notice when I enter some rooms. I'm like, ew! That kid that looks like it's wearing everything Walmart brand new is on mismatch. What else? What else? What else? Ew, 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 ew. 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 For real. Ew, 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 ew. Yeah, I wasn't wrong. I remember. What else? else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So bored. Zero people are watching one post. This wants to kill me, so outfits or that my outfits are dirty and mismatched so that Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo marries him. This leech wants me to die so that my sister and him he can inherit my parents' home. My parents supposedly are already sold home to someone through a lawyer for when both of my parents die. The home goes to someone. And these leeches llevan peleándose entre sí for decades behind the scenes about how they're trying to kill me or my brother or my other sister para ver quién se queda con that view of my childhood bedroom. No fucking way. Ew, ew, ew. You can decapitate Maria Angelis Lorenzo. You can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons. They have raped me, that's my money, and the way we receive money. I don't want these leeches ever near me. I will slice their dicks like a hot dog and feed it to them and make sure that they die. Ideally, when they're drugged, if they're drug addicts. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Two people are watching. One has liked this post. Anyways, I'm sending my GoFundMe campaign to people. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? When I'm financially stable, I plan to travel the planet and meet people, ideally polyamorous. What else? I need new teeth. I need money for food. Even if my food stamps get approved, that's not enough money for food. I need this. After I start dating in San Antonio, I'm gonna travel to Spain and Italy. That's my priority. What else? What else? Vancouver too. What else? What else? I plan to travel when I'm financially stable. Ugh, my Chinese side of me is like, what? I'm like Spanish, Italian, French. What else? What else? What else? What else? My poor parents, for that are war heroes, have been so abused. My siblings are so gross. They want to see how bad people can abuse, so they abuse me and my parents. They're so gross. Ew, ew, ew. What else? What else? What else? Oh, and I don't brag that I have less or more of a sex life than my parents. My parents possibly still, these leeches deal with all those. Eso es lo que causa la muerte casi, para que uno esté bip, 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 sin respiración, so that una no pueda viajar y conocer otras personas. That's what these leeches did to Glorianisa. They're so gross. And my siblings lo que hacen es compararse con otra gente, so they're like, Glorianisa used to be so pretty, but I'm prettier now. I have like the worst anxiety over how disgusting these leeches are. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. I miss Jayden. I miss Keilany. Anyways, I hate that my parents signed me up for school. I wanted to be homeschooled. I hate that my parents started a sex life-ish for me. Yeah. Without self-care, without it being the right people. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. You can decapitate. Oh, that's so cute. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, I didn't have proper self-care. Oh, you can decapitate Richie Hill. That raped me in 2023 impossibly. What is it? Like I said, not even puppies go treat it so badly. You can decapitate Richie Hill that raped me in 2023. It's possibly mocking me behind the scenes. Saying, she was on this shelter. She didn't let me sign up for it. People seriously do that? Waste months of their life? That Gilda Leach was there. Doesn't he date her? Ew. And he had like planned a strategy of being there, showing me that she's his woman still. Like for real, él no entiende que yo tengo algo que hacer en mi vida. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. Dame un asco. Fo. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh no. I could be shopping and showing you shopped at H&M instead of those of the people that get jealous of me. For still, ew. Okay. What else? 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 I'm bored. I sent my. Oh, I should have said. Where is that? Just do this. I'm everywhere. I want to visit the beach next month. Possibly Tampa or Puerto Rico. I'm currently sending my GoFundMe campaign to people through Instagram. What else? What else? What else? So 0-month-old talked to me in 2020, seems like. Through Messenger, through Facebook. Ew. This is so sad. Oh, and those glitches are like, she's poor Latina que no sabe lo que es comida y solo sabe de short. Yo lo mato, yo le voy a cortar el freno if that's his name. Like a slice it in half and then feed it to him until he chokes for having raped me decades ago and stolen my money from me to date and terrorized my parents so that my parents don't provide for me. What else? 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 Oh, he wants to know why I never seek him in all these years. Because I'm gonna chop off his dick and feed it to him in self-defense. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Once I'm financially stable, I plan to travel the planet and meet people, ideally polyamorous men. There's so many people on the planet. So worthy to most likely. I know what Tinder is. I know what Bumble is. I know what taking myself to a restaurant to dine is. I know what it is to take myself to the library and converse. What else? 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 So, it's funny. There's barely people that have the messaging option on their Instagram account. Anyways, I'm currently seeking for people to give me money. My parents won't give me money. I'm no longer speech impaired, so now it's not like, what is this all the Latina suffering? I'm crying like a Latina. I just need my yogurt. It's not- What else? And I ate some papillas. That doesn't make me Latina. Ew. Were they watching me and behind the scenes that like, whoa, she ate with yogurt, but she also ate some papillas. So we're still gonna go with her. Latina. Decades ago, I said to read in school books that one picks a page and skips a few if one chooses to. So based on selection of chapters, one ends at a different ending. So they're like, well, we're gonna make sure that your ending is all bad. That was their let me get to know you. My parents are like, why don't you all focus on that? She likes this. And they're like, no, I want to kill your daughter. They possibly had already planned to kill me before my birth, based on how disgusting they are. What else? 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 So I don't want them ever near me. They're terrible people. Oof, the worst. The worst. Ni un masaje me compré con mi propio dinero. Y se lo pagaron a las liches esas que le maman el pene. Son unas puercas. Y ellos hacen eso para que ellas no lo acusen de violarlas. The whole town knows about it. They're so gross. What else? 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 Yes. I found an account where I can send my funny cooking to someone through Instagram. What else? What else? What else? I'm all over. It's so amazing. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So, I want to tan this weekend. I don't have money for swimsuits or to tan nudes. I don't do poor people talk, so I don't know. I'm talking to anyone when I talk. This is me. What else? What else? What else? What else? Anyways, I skimmed through this. Still very much fun to read. I just burped. What else? What else? I'm bored. So bored. This is when people say that I'm actually like really bored. Officially over, and they still steal my money. They still get in the way of me receiving money. What else? 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 I'm sharing this because a lot of people that I grew up around don't understand what consent is. They don't understand what the word no means. Yeah. Oh, this is so smelly. Anyways, my kitchen is a mess. I'm so getting full. I can't keep up with the cleaning of my apartment. This is me. And this is the speech my baby daddy turned out to be horrible towards me. Ew, that's not even a sibling. That's a rapist, murderer, and thief. That's ew, that's a rapist, murderer, and thief, not a sibling. That's a rapist, murderer, and thief, not a sibling. Ew. No la llevaron my parents didn't take her to Disney. So she said she couldn't cure her sex addiction, so they turned into a murderer. ¡Qué tipa tan puerca! Ew. Ew, 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 ew. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Guillermo Carrero. That steals Jayden and Keilany's child support money. There's no such thing as first dibs of my vagina. Ew. Qué tipo tan puerco fue. ¿Cuántos BMWs did they pay him with to starve me? Como si yo no tuviera a brain of my own. Ew. It's like fucking pendejo. Ew, I can choose to never see you. He doesn't get it? Decades ago? Like, why was I in his presence? Because I took myself there. Thinking that I was gonna have a great time dancing there. And I didn't. That place, La Casona, ill, they opened to try to rape me. Ill. He was trying to lure in people there, trying to get rich off of me. Ill. Ew, 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 ew. Ya él amarró a Ginny Sandaliris, Lorenzo Suárez, a mi decades ago. Ya él se tomó mi café con él, con Ginny Sandaliris, Lorenzo Suárez en mi casa. Decades ago. and they're still begging me for sex. Ya compraron sex toys, leatherware con Ginny Gendaliris, que se supone que tengo un manicomio. Even her dad has said, like, that leech isn't even prepared mentally, emotionally to have sex. Is so embarrassing how they just drag her around y ella se deja como un monkey, a circus monkey, people say she is. Look at my pony! Her own dad says that about her. Ew. It's like, have you seen, look at my pony? Y mi hija se deja. Ew. Decades ago, una tipa tan bruta. She doesn't understand dating, so she rapes, she kidnaps people, she steals money, stays in homes that are hers, drives vehicles that are hers. Se pone mi panty nueva sin mi permiso, supuestamente la deja sucia en mi casa. As an act of terrorism, para que yo no vaya a mi casa. Ew, 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 ew. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez. There's like 4 of them. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez on his sons that have raped me, steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. I don't ever want them near me. If I see these leeches near me, I'm going to chop off their dicks like a hot dog in half and feed it to them. Well, ideally on drugs if that's what they use, so that they choke and die. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? When I'm financially stable, I plan to planet and meet people, ideally polyamorous men. What else? 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 I'm so bored. Jordan, Tashna, Leslie. All right, babies. What is it? Michael Lopez and Veronica have? Red babies. Ew, gente puerca. Full. Joanna Vargas has a red baby. Maritza Vargas Lorenzo has red babies. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate everyone that steals my money, that gets in the way of me receiving money, that stays in my homes without my permission, that steals my vehicles. I want my 4 BMWs from up to 1999. 19 in 1999. Brand new. If they aren't brand new, I want them to kill themselves for loaning them to people that would suck their dick. That's disgusting. When I need my vehicles. What else? 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 This is so slow. What is house 330? I'm bored. I'm bored. That's a relatable outfit. Currently skimmed through an article. Oh, this one too. On Cosmopolitan. I'm shooting Kayla Barnes in self-defense Monday. 3 people are watching. What else like this post? What else? What else? What else? What else do I need to cover? 4. A judge to review, ideally without me being present. Please don't ask me to testify in a few years. Unless I'm strong and it won't take like a lot of my time and it will definitely get those leeches. The death penalty for abusing me. Then I'll testify. However, ideally, I don't want to testify. What else? Which is why I post these live videos. Hoping that I won't have to testify in court against those leeches that have raped me, steal my money, get in the way of me receiving money, have tried to rape me, steal my vehicles, and steal my homes. What else? 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 I'm hungry. I'm for food. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? My parents want me to kill everyone that steals from me, gets in the way of me receiving money, stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles ASAP so that they can give me my money so I can take because I know that I stress over those leeches that I grew up around for the most part, relatives, colleagues of theirs, their relatives, and neighbors of theirs. Ew. They may be seeking into raping anyone that I date. Years that behind the scenes there. Encontré este, con el que te habla en Tinder. Encontré este, con el que te habla jugando con este, ya salió la cita. They invade privacy. They're hillbillies. What else? What else? What else? They're hillbillies. Full. What else? What else? What else? What else? They're so gross. I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm sleeping soon. I took way too many naps today. However, that felt good. And what is that? Oh, very much necessary because I have food stamps because these aren't even relatives, they're just grossness that lived near my parents decades ago. Rape me, steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. Hopefully, they don't think that they have first dibs over my vagina. Ew. My silence doesn't mean that I have a timetable when I'm gonna jump on their dicks. My silence towards them means that I'm never having sex with them. They have facilitated for females to rape me. They're so gross. They're after que yo le mame las tetas a una de estas, hacerse importante y mejor que yo. Full, una asquerosidad. Seriously, just garbage. I'm like, oh, you're so pretty on the outside, pero por dentro you're just garbage. So ungrateful. They don't practice gratitude ever. Always have expectations for that they should be gifted from people that possibly already are Jewish and gifted their parents a ton of money for that at a certain age. What else? What else? So I had to just roll my eyes when I would hear him be like, so and so doesn't ever make me a gift. And I'm like, OMG, como le explico? Que that's so tacky. It's that expensive. He can learn how to say no. So if you are raping him, And these people, a lot of them are Jewish, that give parents money for kids, and sometimes it's allotted for a specific age too, not necessarily when the kid wants it or from birth. There's the truth. What? They still think that my confidence comes from my parents having a home with a view to the mountain and the beach. Ellos se iban llorando para su casa. Like, it doesn't have a view to the beach. No wonder, right? Other people gifted them money so that they go on y se compran una casa con una vista a la playa away from stealing from people. Decades ago. They don't get it. They have entitlement. Una asquerosidad. I don't ever want to go out on a date. I don't ever want it as a plus one. La gente que lo soporta es porque he adapts to treating people well based on if they have an ottoman in their bedroom or not. Or if your dad drives a Maserati. What else? What else? What else? I don't ever want people like that in my life. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? That's so cute. What the fuck? Anyways, you can give me money in person through my PayPal accounts or my GoFundMe campaign. 3 people are watching. One has like this post. You couldn't just guess that in 2020 what I was thinking. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, steal my money, get in the way of my finances, causing me to starve for more than 30 years. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else?